Down to Watch strives to be a unique podcast dedicated to movies, TV, and music with a soft spot for cult classics. Join your hosts K and D for fun, games, and the occasional pop culture chatter. This is Down to Watch. And we are back with another episode. I want to thank everybody who has been listening, all of our listeners and followers. Thanks everybody who has liked the Facebook page and followed us on Twitter. It's super cool of you. And so if you haven't liked us on Facebook, please do so. If you aren't following us on Twitter, please do so. I try to keep it interesting on there, and you'll always get to know when the new episodes are up. So now we can get on with the show. This is February. It's Black History Month. So we just happened to pick this movie. The Inkwell.
Yes.
Is the subject for this episode. I have been doing 28 days of black cinema on my blog. If you go to ruggedangel.com, you can check out the Rugged blog. And my movie for today, February 7th, was The Inkwell, and Dee decided that he wanted to podcast about this one as well, so we can get into that. And you can also check out the rest of the films, and you can follow me along my journey in my 28 days of cinema at ruggedangel.com. So The Inkwell was released in 1994, and I will just read the staple synopsis that was on IMDb. In 1976, Drew Tate is a young teenager who has trouble dealing with life after he accidentally sets his house on fire. His parents, Kenny and Brenda, decide to go to Martha's Vineyard to spend the 4th of July weekend with Brenda's sister, Francis's black Republican husband, Spencer, and their son, Junior. While there, Drew falls for a self-centered girl named Lauren and befriends a married lady named Heather. While on their vacation, Drew deals with his parents' attempts to save their marriage as well as with his own troubles. Eventually, all of this leads to a life-changing event for Drew as well as his parents. Now, this movie was directed by Matty Rich, written by Terry Ellis and Paris Qualless, and stars Lorenz Tate, Joe Morton, Suzanne Douglas, Glenn Thurman, and Vanessa Bell Calloway. Now, we can get into our history with the film.
Did you mention Joe Morton?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was number 2.
Okay. Just want to make sure we got Olivia Pope's dad.
Papa Pope was mentioned.
Yes. And I'm assuming this was a little sleeper that came out in 1994, but just of note, Paris, either Qualless or Qualley, is a female writer, I believe, who is also known for the work in The Tuskegee Airmen, which came out in 1995, A Raisin in the Sun in 2008, and The Color of Friendship in 2000.
Interesting.
I thought it was pretty well written. Trey Ellis was the other writer. At the time, he was writing it under the name of Tom Rico Stranaza, which I'm guessing was his real name, and then somebody was like, hey, Trey Ellis. Who was born in 1962 and probably, I would guess, the creative director behind the 70s-esque theme. Because this was set in 1976, but it was made in 1994.
Correct.
So there was some
Well,
serious afro wigs going on, and there was some serious 70s shorts. I used to have a pair of those shorts. Of course, I was 5.
Well, first let's start with our history with it. Had you ever heard of this film before?
No.
Okay.
But Trey Ellis also worked on The Tuskegee Airmen, also Good Fences, 2003 movie.
I'm not familiar.
I thought you showed that to me.
Good Fences?
The Inkwell. In any event. Well, we're getting off topic, but Good Fences has, what's his name, the guy from Lethal Weapon? Danny Glover and Whoopi Goldberg in it. And
no, I definitely didn't see that.
It's about an upwardly mobile black family who moved, and then, their American dream became a nightmare. Also set in 1970. So I'm saying there's a theme here with Trey Ellis doing movies that were set in the 70s. So, that said, when I was watching it, I thought it was made in 1970 as well, partly because of the daytime drama-esque musical scores.
Nah.
You know, it's like during like a really emotional or great dialogue, they would have this just like over the top cheesy music. You didn't need it. Either you trust your writing or you don't trust your writing.
Yeah.
And the excessive violins during the heartfelt speeches probably wasn't necessary. Other than that, I love this movie.
Gotcha. Well, my history with the film is that.
So what you meant to say is let's talk about your history with the films.
No, I just wanted to. I'd like to start off with both of us, our histories with the film, as if either one of us seen it, heard of it, blah 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 blah. So, in '94, that's when I graduated from high school. But I remember it coming out. I remember the film coming out, but I thought I had seen it before. But after watching it tonight, I have not seen it. I have never seen this film before, and it was on my radar, actually on our DVR, because it just happened to be on show.
Sorry, the last thing I heard you say was you graduated from high school in 1994.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about where I was in 1994. Our relationship would not have been okay in 1994.
I'm sure it would not have been. Seeing as you had already graduated with a PhD at that point.
Like a BSBA, something like that. But I was graduating from college when you were graduating from high school. Just 4 little years.
So you straight up, you were graduating from college the same year that I graduated from high school.
Yeah, pretty much. I graduated, I guess, 95 would be the year.
Okay, so
I could have graduated in 94 just because I had so many credits. But,
18. Well, I was 18 when I graduated, so, I mean.
Still creepy.
It's definitely creepy, and I just feel
and
like.
And that fits into this movie, too.
Yes.
It's really a movie. Are we over your history?
No, we're not, because I have an interesting story.
Oh, okay. Let's hear that
Let me get to it. So, why this movie was on my radar at this point in time is that I was watching something, like I really, really enjoy Glenn Thurman as an actor. Like, he's an awesome actor. He was the Republican uncle.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
And I really, really enjoyed Joe Morton. I believe they're both, like, strong powerhouse actors.
No
and
doubt.
I had seen, I think Glenn Thurman was recently on an episode of SVU. And I just tweeted out, I was like, I really want to see Glenn Thurman and Joe Morton in an act-off. I want to see them in a movie together. And then Glenn Thurman tweeted me back and said, watch the Inkwell.
Oh, you're kidding me.
No.
That's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes
Glenn Thurman,
let me talk.
Good suggestion. Because the acting was great. I mean, everybody did a great job in their roles. And the writing, again, I would say was very good.
Yeah, I thought his cousin and his little friends, they were a little overacted.
They were caricatures.
Yeah.
But when you think about, this is really a coming-of-age story for Drew Tate.
Correct.
A 16-year-old with a doll and some emotional problems.
Now, mind you, it's not like a doll. It's like a wooden carved doll that his grandmother made for him.
Yeah.
So, but he did talk to it.
It wasn't a girly doll. It didn't make him fey or anything like that. But yeah, he had flat on, could be a serial killer kind of guy. You know, like
close.
He was just talking, but he was such a nice guy. I mean, there was nothing about, but he was such an interesting character. Again, that's why I say great writing. And Lorenzo Tate, who played it, Lorenz Tate, who played him, did a great job of just playing a great, quirky, nice kid who just like wasn't comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
And you could see how he was having problems. His dad was like a Black Panther, and his mom was, I guess not
pro Black Panther.
Well, I mean, she was. I mean, it's like she gave him crap about his dashiki, but at the same time, she was wearing some serious African themed clothing herself.
And plus, it was '76. So
right, I'm not hating, but this kid wasn't. He was just trying to make some rocket fuel in the garage, and one thing led to the other, and he accidentally set the house on fire.
We've all been there.
And they start the movie, after this had happened. They don't make a big deal out of the fact that he burned the house down. They're just this is the excuse for why they're going to visit the relatives in Martha's Vineyard, on the island.
But I was kind of I just kind of thought it would have been nice if they had mentioned, like, maybe if their house was being rebuilt or if they're being relocated or something.
They did. They said they're here for a couple of weeks while they fix the house.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
But they start the movie off with him, the the character Drew Tate, he's got a 2-seater bicycle, which is also a star of the film,
with full-on banana seats.
and a basket in the back, and he's got his little doll strapped to the back seat, and he's like talking, and it opens with him talking to someone on the back seat, and you're thinking this is gotta be his little brother, little sister, or something like that, but no, it's his doll.
Named Iago.
Iago, which is a cool name.
Which
Does that have some significance?
I think the significance is that it was from the Othello play,
Yeah.
I think. And it's just like gives you a peek into what type of kid he is.
Yeah, has read Shakespeare. 16 years old. He's got a 2-seater bicycle, a doll named Iago, and he attempts to make rocket fuel in his free time.
I just wanted to make the rocket fuel.
I was just trying to make some rocket fuel. And even like with the dance scenes when he goes and asks the girl to dance, and it was just very charming portrayal of the character.
And the young girl that he ends up kind of falling for while he's in Martha's Vineyard is a very, very young and still extremely sassy Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, and I had no idea because I know her as Fish now,
right,
from Gotham. But in any event, he ends up though like it's a kind of like summer break, lose your virginity basic plot.
Mm-hmm.
And he does, and he loses virginity with like this formerly married woman. Cougar Town all over the place.
That was so creepy.
Yeah, which is why I'm not feeling as bad about our age difference.
Well, we're both. Well, no, okay, but yeah, you're right. It's definitely not. We're not as creep-tastic.
No, but it was very funny. There's a few moments in that movie that were just hilarious. Great laughs. The writing again was a good mix between comedy and drama, and it was also a good peek into what it's like, to see a black Republican played by Glenn Thurman in his living on Martha Island neighborhood, and the Black Panther played by Joe Morton, and the conversations between those two men were also great dialogue.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed their dynamic the most.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like Archie Bunker and Meathead, except like two black men from the 70s.
And they get into a full-on fist fight, and I guess that
over
kinda,
tennis.
Yeah, and they end up becoming friends, after the fact. And I guess that's another.
How guys are.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like I hear this that dudes can fight physically, box it out, and then they'll be good because afterwards. It must be really nice for you guys.
It's awesome. I suggest women throw down a lot more. And
you know what? I suggest that too. I feel much better about some fisticuffs as opposed to a bunch of catty.
Just so long as it's not Ronda Rhodes. Make sure you check this woman's name. If her name is Ronda Rhodes, she's a UFC champion, and she will break your arm.
No, I'm not just going to go up to somebody.
Check some credentials. Just your name's not Rhonda, is it? No. Okay, let's throw down. Otherwise, broken arm, guaranteed every time. So, is there anything else? I wanted a podcast about this because I think everybody should. Not everybody, but I think if you're into a good coming of age story with a unique character that you've never seen before, and you'd like that kind of Archie Meathead banter that was made famous by All in the Family, but you want to see it between some authentically written black men characters. Like, that's one thing I loved about this movie is there's no gangsters.
Right.
There's no drug dealers. This is just straight up
stereotypes.
Middle American black life.
Yeah.
Period.
There were no stereotypes, and even
the people from Blackish. I assign you the following homework: watch the Inkwell, rethink your lives. And start writing a better sitcom.
Even like Lorenz Tate's or the character of Drew Tate, he could have been like this over the top, just nerdball of a character, but Lorenz Tate did such a great job of so subtly, bringing it in there, but enough that you feel bad for him, like when he gets turned down at the dance.
He gets pushed down too by the big old dude.
Oh, this movie also features a very young Morris Chestnut.
Yeah, guy's huge.
Yeah, so it's a lot of.
Did you say Morris Chestnut?
Yeah,
Morris Chestnut was not
husband.
the dude that pushed him down. Though.
No, he was the Heather's husband.
Yeah, Heather Lee and Harold Lee were this married couple, and Harold Lee, played by Morris Chestnut, was like a dog cheating on her all over.
Like in
town.
broad daylight in
Right.
public. Just, I
And
don't
so
understand how.
Drew Tate's character kind of comes to her defense in a very creative, just awesome way. And again, with a slight hint towards possible serial killer, because he
Yeah.
writes the guy a note in magazine letters. You know,
A
he puts
ransom
it out.
note. Like,
It wasn't a ransom note, but it was
I
like, you best
in
stop
the style
cheating.
of a ransom note.
But the big guy that pushed him down was Marcus Redman, who he was huge, dude. He was an actor and writer known for Fight Club.
What?
Let me give you. In 1999, I guess he did some of the writing on Fight Club. And
Really?
Doogie Howser, M.D. in 1989. And The Mating Habits of Earthbound Human in 1999. But this gentleman, to look at him, he's very large. He could have played the Predator in Predator versus Alien.
Meh. Are you sure you didn't?
No, I'm not. So, again, amazing cast all the way around. And whoever, I'm going to look up who produced Inkwell, because they deserve a shout out. And I want to figure out who did casting for Inkwell, because they also deserve a shout out. All cast and crew. The director, Matty Rich. Like we said, you're overdoing it on your musical score. You had all that great acting, all that great writing. You could have eased up. I'm going to go ahead and call out the music by Terrence Blanchard.
Terrence Blanchard is actually a very well-known jazz musician, I believe, and he does a lot of musical scores.
World-renowned trumpeter, composer, and bandleader,
Oh.
and Blue Note recording artist Terrence Blanchard.
And I feel like he's performed at MCG Jazz in
Cool.
the past couple of years. If he's not dead, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know.
So you also stated that this was probably a sleeper, like in 1994, and I have the budget of the film here, and it was approximately $8 million, and made just like they had like squeaked by with a profit of $880,000.
Ouch.
Was the profit.
Wow.
So,
So all the more reason to go rent it. The casting was by, I'm going to let you try to pronounce this, but I'm going to say Shemin Sylvia Bernard.
sure, that looks about right.
Good job on the casting. Outstanding job on the casting.
Yes, well done.
And let me see who produced. I'm surprised producer doesn't get produced by Irving Azoff, Matthew Baer, John Cicchini, and Guy Rydell. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but hats off to all of you. Sorry you didn't make all the money you were hoping to, but you should be very proud of yourselves on a well-made movie.
At least you didn't have to eat too much of it.
Yeah, they did. That's a lot. That's not very much. Anyway, it's a damn shame. Just goes to show you the overall problem we have with black cinema. Because that stupid movie with Jennifer Aniston and, what's his name? The guy from Saturday Night Live from Overland Park, Kansas.
Oh, Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, okay, that movie made money.
Horrible Bosses?
No. They played a con man couple.
Oh, that family movie.
Yeah, right.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of movies that are far lesser in quality that make money.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And the main reason, outside of the fact that this is Black History Month, that I started to go on this 28 days of black cinema is that I am sick and tired of, it's bad enough that black cinema does not get its well-deserved props to begin with. Like, it's hard-pressed. We're hard-pressed to find really good black cinema in the movie theaters on a regular basis. And it's not like it's not being produced. It's not like it's not being made. It's just, I feel like a lot of theaters think they're not going to make money off of it. And more close to home here, I noticed that there are like none of our independent movie theaters here.
Try to show independent movies. It's all mass-produced stuff.
Or
It's a
not
shame.
even that, or just the fact that I even kind of just like put like a little call out, just kind of like hoping that one of them would try to do some sort of thoughtful programming for February. And one theater, the Hollywood Theater, they are playing a couple of films that would fall into that category, but there's another one that's completely ignoring it altogether, and
That's right.
they've like chosen this month as like, I don't know, a ode to robots or something like that, and it's frustrating, and especially when
You know the word robot. Inherently, its etymology, it means slave.
I did not know that. I don't know for a fact
I'm
that
just
was
saying,
robots.
It's just an awful coincidence.
I mean, it's.
Let's
I just
talk
pulled
about
that
the
out
Inkwell.
of there.
Yeah, the Inkwell, actually, there's nothing about this movie that's inherently black.
No, it could have been
Outside
anybody.
of the banter between the two main actors, Joe Morton and
Glenn Thurman.
Glenn Thurman. But again, my example of that kind of banter is two white guys from All in the
Right.
Family. So it's like
It could be
there is
anybody.
really nothing inherently African American or black outside of the characters were portrayed with authenticity of who they were, and it was an all black cast. But the things that really got touched on in this movie was like in the 70s, the divorce rate was going up. This particular couple did not get divorced, but they were having some struggles and they were working through it, and they worked through it. And the kids reflected, even Jada Pinkett Smith's character.
Well, I guess just Jada Pinkett at that time.
Yeah. But her character was like, they're on their date, and she's like, so when your parents get divorced, which one are you going to go with? He's like, my parents are getting divorced? She's like, all parents are getting divorced. Anybody that's got both their parents, which was a phenomenon that really started pretty hitting hard in the 70s, and it continued throughout. So I thought it was also a good treatment of how that affects the kids, because he later goes back to go on their second date, and she's fooling around with Marcus Redman, player, in his big, huge underwear. It was a horrible
That was another
scene.
uncomfortable scene. So there were like two very uncomfortable scenes.
And he's all crying. Drew Tate's crying through the window.
That was very sad.
What I was proud of is he didn't go straight to his doll and be like, look, man, we're done with women. You and me forever.
I wouldn't have been like extra creepy if like he had the doll, he and the doll were looking in the window,
together. That's when you knew something was getting burned down. But it wasn't about that at all. It was
They
serious
definitely
problems.
taken that turn though. I would like to see the Inkwell Part 2.
30 years later. Come on now. Nobody in this movie was a killer, a thug, a drug dealer, or any kind of nefarious character. They were goofy teenagers being goofy teenage boys. I love the fact that Drew Tate's first question about sex wasn't, what's a condom, as his cousin just introduced to him, but was, what's a clitoris? And his dad was kind of like, that's my boy. That's a great first question. Let me, pluck it like a guitar string. Like, pluck it like a guitar string. Think about it. And then you see it, with his great acting where his face goes from confusion to clarity, and he understands. It was just like a great father-son moment out there fishing. And it was funny too, the way his dad handled like the sex talk was like, if you've got anything you need to know, anything at all, you come to me, anything. And like the way he kept saying it was like, after a while, I was like, all right, dude, you need to relax. You need to just take it down several notches, or I'm not going to tell you anything. But the son digs deep. That's a good question. Really like testing his dad too. That's why that marriage probably stayed together, because his dad knew how to answer that question. He had a good answer.
Plug it like a guitar.
Plug it like a guitar. So.
I thought it would have been great if he was like, but I don't play guitar. Okay. So, would you revisit the film?
Yes, absolutely.
You would definitely watch it again?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would watch it again. So, overall, I did enjoy the Inkwell, and yeah, kudos to everybody involved in it. Dee was still a little... he didn't appreciate the hard-hitting
musical score during a couple of the monologues.
But other than that, great film, and I would suggest you watch it. It should be available just about anywhere right about now.
Yeah. Also, a nice treatment of Miles Davis, one of my favorite musicians. They did cut in some Miles Davis in there.
Nice.
And after he lost his virginity.
Yeah. Well, you know, you can't just be playing around with any old
No.
violin.
Like, hey, we're gonna save the
no,
Miles for
no.
after this. After he plucks the guitar string.
And everything, he comes back in
and
on
they didn't
screen.
show any nudity. It wasn't like one of those. It wasn't one of those movies that relied on any of the typical cliches that movies rely on to keep our attention. It was just well written, well acted, with some very interesting characters and unique dialogue.
What was this rated? I wonder. It had to have been PG.
But it angers me that like American Pie makes a franchise.
Oh my God.
And Inkwell.
That was completely like
Hardly
American
made
Pie is something that just
hardly
didn't
made
need to
any money.
happen. Also, another film that kind of reminds me of this and I think this film was made back in the 50s, is called The Learning Tree, and it's a much more gritty kind of coming of age tale, but it's also kind of got the same theme there of a young boy is kind of put into a new situation or a new space.
Yeah,
and
fish out of water.
Yeah, and he like meets new people, and there was definitely like he lost his virginity to a grown woman kind of thing.
So that was awesome.
It's still wrong. It's still
Lawrence
very
Tate's
wrong.
got a pretty good history here too. It's
Okay,
acting.
so we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then when we come back,
I just want to say he was on Rescue Me. It's where most people probably know him.
I know.
Okay.
We're
Well,
gonna-
I didn't know. He's
No,
on
but-
Justified as well. He was in one episode in 2011 as Clinton Moss. I'm just trying to make something relevant for our readers or listeners here. I think he was in Menace to Society too.
Mm-hmm.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was in one episode.
But we always kind of get into that when we try to do 6 Degrees.
You do, because you're a genius. All right. 21 Jump Street. Wonder Years.
We're gonna take a break, and we'll come back and let D go ahead and finish reading his filmography, and then we'll try to connect him.
You're going to play.
We're gonna try to connect.
I'm going to judge you.
So, Rugged Angel Productions has made some internet friends over at inherglam.com. This is a great website with blog posts and YouTube videos on beauty, fashion, fitness, TV, and food. They also have podcasts on Arrow, Revenge, Hit the Floor, and Scandal. And while you're there, you can go ahead and make sure to check out the Glam Chick shop for female empowering swag. Now swing on over to inherglam.com and show the ladies some love. That's inherglam.com, INHERGLAM.com. Your one-stop site for all things fashion, glam, and life-related.
All right, stretch out your brain.
All right, we are back, and now it's time to connect, or now it's time to play
6 Degrees
of James Franco.
Welcome to America's favorite pop culture game, the best game since Kevin Bacon. You're listening to another version of 6 Degrees of James Franco.
And I've chosen, let's take our star of the Inkwell, Lorenz Tate, and try to connect it. Let's get my pen and paper out. And as you were saying before the break, Lorenz was on an episode of Rescue Me. Or
I don't
several.
think he was just on an
He was on
episode.
several
Yeah,
episodes. He's
right.
like a whole, like a two.
He's
I
one
think
of the
like the last
stars.
2 seasons he was on.
He was the boyfriend of one of his daughters.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. He was Black Sean, I think was his name.
Yeah,
on the show.
exactly. Right.
So we could.
Where he was also awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I think this is. The Inkwell is probably the sweetest I've ever seen Lorenz Tate in a role, and maybe Rescue Me might be the second one. Everything else he kind of plays like a hard ass. So we can start with Rescue Me with Dennis Leary.
I've heard rumors, yeah, that he was in that.
Dennis Leary. And then from Dennis Leary, Maybe Kevin Spacey in The Ref. Who was in the... You said Franco was in the first 2 Spider-Man movies?
Yeah.
Who else was in... There was Tobey Maguire, Kristen Dunst.
Scarlett Jo. Oh, it was Kristen Dunst. You're right.
Who was the bad guy in that?
Larenz Tate was in 45 episodes over a period of 4
Sorry.
years.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize he was on there that long. I felt like he just came on later in the game. My apologies, Lorenz. Huh.
Are you stumped?
Joe Manganiello was in Spider-Man.
Not the same Spider-Man franchise.
Yes.
No.
I'm looking right at it.
No, but not in the one that James Franco was in.
I'm looking right at the IMDb filmography.
Oh, yeah.
And he
he played
Flash
Buzz.
Thompson.
Yeah. He was the bully. Dennis Leary was in a movie called Suicide Kings.
Ah, yes.
Which has a much richer cast,
that's the
Christopher
kid from
Walken.
Elliot. Yeah, Walken, Elliot from...
Henry Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. Turn Away, the kid from Clueless.
Jay Moore.
Jay Moore.
He was in, like, everything. Yeah,
Feel
Turn
like-
Away,
yeah.
Jeremy Sisto.
Yes, thank you. This one might be tough. This one might...
This one is tough. It's not might be. Let's see. Yeah, those guys don't have much in common, Jay Moore and James Franco, other than Jay Leno. We're going to have to go a different direction, honey.
Well, I mean, not Jay Moore, but it's got to be... Christopher Walken was in Blast from the Past. Wait, you know what?
What?
I think I got it.
Thank God.
Lorenz Tate was on an episode of Mindy Project.
So was James
So
Franco.
is James Franco.
Were they on the same episode?
No.
That does it for you?
That
Wow.
Mindy.
Let's talk about standards, Kay.
What are you talking about?
Those are some low-ass standards.
How? How is that? I don't understand. How is that not?
Come on, you can do this. Maybe Lorenzo Tate's not the way you want to go.
I know, but I really hate, like I called it. Like, I put it out there. Now I feel like it's...
Okay, we can keep going.
Jay Moore was in Go. And that's like, what?
Yeah.
Katie Holmes,
Timothy Oliphant.
Tay Diggs. Tay Diggs has got to get us somewhere with Lorenz Tate.
Tay Diggs was
Oh, wait, no, that's not. I forgot what we're doing. That's Franco.
James
Wow.
Franco.
Yeah, so Jay Moore was in Go. So there's Tay Diggs, Katie Holmes, Timothy Oliphant.
How did we get to Jay Moore again?
Lorenz, Dennis Leary, and Suicide Kings. Jay Moore was in
Okay.
Suicide Kings with Dennis Leary. So Franco and Timothy Oliphant.
I think you'd remember that.
Yeah, I don't think they've been in anything together, but maybe there's something else there.
Why not go with Glenn Thurman or Joe Morton? Let me tell you some things that Joe Morton's been in. He's been in like 123 things, right? Like, I don't know, let the listeners decide whether or not you've done it through the Mindy Project, or if they're going to require you to dig a little deeper.
All right, let's try Joe Morton then, because I feel like, I mean, that's the whole point of the game, is that if it's challenging, it's not challenging. Okay, well, how about this? if we go Lorenz to Dennis Leary to Jay Moore to Oliphant, who was on an episode of The Office with Mindy, who had James Franco on her show. How does that work for you?
That works better.
Okay, so Lorenz Tate to Dennis Leary in Rescue Me. Dennis Leary to to Jay Moore in Suicide Kings. Jay Moore to Timothy Oliphant in Go. Timothy Oliphant in an episode of The Office with Mindy Kaling. And Mindy Kaling to James Franco from an episode of the Mindy Project. That is 6 steps.
I'm just unimpressed, but yes. Too many TV shows.
Okay, then you do it.
Okay. I'll give this a try. Any second now. Let's start with James Franco in Spider-Man 3. In which, let's see, who was in that? That'll help us get there. Nobody. Thomas Hayden was in that. Thomas Hayden Church. He was also in Over the Hedge as the exterminator. Which gets
who else was in there?
Thomas Hayden Church was in Spider-Man 3 with James Franco.
Okay.
Thomas Hayden Church was also in Over the Hedge, the exterminator.
I thought that was Putty from Seinfeld.
And that in it had also, let's see, there's Bruce Willis and there's Steve Carell. So I just need to get to Lorenz Tate to Bruce Willis or Steve Carell. I know Guy Thurman is listening. He's on the edge of his seat. He's like, I know this one.
Put me in. Put me in, coach.
What's his name again?
Glenn Thurman.
Glenn. Sorry. Did I say Guy?
Yeah. I think I got it.
Okay.
Shit, I lost it.
All right, I got one for you.
Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, too many. Ooh! No. I don't got it.
All right. All right. So, okay. Glenn Thurman, who is in Takers, who puts us to Hayden Christensen, who is in Jumper. Remember Jumper?
Yeah.
And in Jumper was Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay.
Okay, from there, Samuel L. to James Franco, you should be able to do in 3 moves. Oh, come on. I can't believe those two have never been in anything together. I'm just shaming myself.
Oh, it's too many TV shows. Oh.
I know. I expect more out of you.
I'm unimpressed.
That's right. You're a pop culture genius.
You says you. How about this? Lorenz to Oliphant in that episode of Justify that he did.
Oh, okay.
Oliphant to Alex Pettyfer in I Am Number 4.
Okay.
Alex Pettyfer to Joe Manganiello in Magic Mike. Manganiello to James Franco in Spider-Man.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. How many steps was that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And they are again?
Lorenz to Timothy Oliphant in that episode of Justified.
Okay.
Timothy Oliphant to Alex Pettyfer in I Am Number 4.
Okay.
Alex Pettyfer to Joe Manganiello in Magic Mike. And Manganiello to James Franco in Spider-Man.
That's awesome. You go. That's what I'm talking about. Pop culture genius.
All right. So, man, that was
painful.
Whew, I almost thought it couldn't be done. I thought we might have to retire the James Franco game.
But no, you beat it.
We didn't.
You beat it. You did it in 5 moves.
Barely.
Up top.
Okay, so I think that's it for today. And thank you for listening. Please check us out. Like us on Facebook, Down to Watch Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, DTW Podcast. And make sure to follow us and add some little hearts on the SoundCloud under Rugged Angel Productions. We have this episode. Well, that's where we post all of our episodes. And yeah. And you can also visit ruggedangel.com if you'd like to go on the journey of the 28 days of cinema, of black cinema with me this month.
And you could be on the podcast if you write to us and tell us why you think you should be Skyped in for a podcast. We're open to it. We want to make sure there's listener participation, and frankly,
we don't want to monopolize this.
Yeah.
So
everyone gets sick of their own voice after a while. We're interested in special guests.
Yes. So you can send us an email at downtowatchpodcast@gmail.com or shoot us a message on Facebook or a little tweet. Be like, hey, I want to be on the show.
And eventually we are going to do Kitchen Confidential. It's going to happen.
Yes, it's going to happen. We promise. We keep saying this. And also, we still haven't heard back from anybody if they wanted us to do My So-Called Life or not. But we did get a listener came in.
I'm surprised Jared Leto didn't tweet you.
He didn't have time. There was a listener, Kate. We have not forgotten about you. And she suggested a British sketch comedy show.
The episodes?
No, a British sketch comedy show. And I need to find it here.
Because episodes is hilarious. It's not over yet, but when it is over, we'll probably podcast about it.
The show is called Jam, and Kate asked that we take a look at that.
Is it spelled with a B?
No.
Okay.
It's like jam, like strawberry jam. And, or like,
Guitar jam.
Yeah. Or like, the shorts that we wore in the 80s. Jams, you remember those? They were like the knee, like Bermuda shorts that came to the knee. They were really like crazy, obnoxious, bright colors. And they're called jams. I think with a Z, though. J-M-Z. But anyway, so Jam, this British sketch comedy show. I think there's only like 8 episodes of it. So.
Okay. Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. It's probably just streaming on YouTube. It seems pretty old.
Oh, okay.
And,
we'll check it out.
Yeah.
We'll check it out, Karen.
Kate
is what I meant to say. You mean a lot to me, Kate.
Thank you, Kate, for suggesting that. So that's all we've got for today. And please come back. Thank you for listening and enjoy your weekend. This has been a Rugged Angel production.